What's up, everyone? This is the Sibling Trap podcast. One of your hosts, Barry. We have Katrina. Today, she's got the topic. We're feeling great. We're feeling refreshed after a long
Monday.
weekend. It is Monday.
Was it a
I had
long
a
weekend?
wild day at work today.
Oh,
It wasn't a long, well, I guess it was kind of a long weekend for me because I didn't really work Friday. I was at the range Friday. So,
okay. So you had a wild
um,
day today?
Today was wild, yeah. Yeah, just
Good.
getting everything ready for what we're working on at work. And we have a big event coming up in 2 weeks that we're doing a lot of promoting for and a lot of networking with different people that are going, different
Hmm.
vendors, different influencers, brand ambassadors, pro shooters. The list is long.
You're gonna be a
So
busy guy.
every day.
And you have a race in May, right?
I have a race this Saturday.
Ooh.
So yeah, it's
Oh.
a 10K, 6.2 miles here in Pearland called the Pear Run.
Hmm.
And I'm super excited about it. Gonna add another medal to the wall and
Awesome.
hopefully get a good time. Yeah. Shooting for under 45 minutes. I think I can do it.
You've got this. I have faith in you.
I'm excited.
Um, Today was my first day of training at Starbucks, which was awesome. I feel very like I don't know. I was saying earlier, like they were so giddy to see me. Like the whole team was like, everyone's just so excited that you're here. And like everyone's like really loving that you're part of this team. And I was like, I haven't fucked up an order yet. So like don't celebrate me too much. But it's nice to feel appreciated and like seen. You know that from your current position too.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm so happy for you. I'm
I'm
glad
excited.
everybody's being welcoming and warming and
Yeah. And
all that
I'm
fun stuff
fucking caffeinated beyond. So we'll just take all the drinks. Okay.
all day long. Got it.
So I saw this reel on Instagram today. Was it? Or it might have been TikTok. That I thought I wanted to get your perspective on because I feel like you and I are kind of on different ends of the spectrum when it comes to this currently anyway. Um, and the guy was talking about like how when he's with someone, like he will never post them on social media. Like the only people that will know that he's in a relationship are like the other person and like his family. And I was like, it was interesting because he was saying like, society is just really out there to like destroy your peace and like ruin something good for you. And I know that um in situations past you have been quick to um publicize something, whereas like I'm kind of like in the wings waiting to make things public. So I don't know though, like would you go about this differently in your next relationship, or do you still feel like you'd be like, no, that this is my person and I want the whole world to know?
Oh,
Sorry, that was really heavy. I love you.
the level of controversy in today's topic.
Oh, but like we just needed to hash it out. Like tell me what you're feeling.
All right. So, well, I mean, you're not wrong. I've definitely been one to be eager to post my person and to post when I'm in relationships.
It's natural though.
I want to brag. You're absolutely right. It is natural. I
Yeah.
want to brag about my person. I want to be like, yeah, all you other bitches ain't shit, And no,
We love you.
and honestly though, I've always been one to be proud of the relationships that I'm in
Yeah.
and proud of maybe not just the women that are in the relationship, but the caliber of woman that I've been in relationships with.
Okay.
Now, obviously in hindsight, maybe not so much, but and here lately, I have started to feel that same reluctantness that
Mm.
you share of posting relationships because in the last few experiences, as soon as I posted it, people were freaking out and they're hitting me up. Oh my God, you're in another relationship, or oh, here we go again, or whatever the case is. And,
Yeah.
getting that, uh, I mean, really honestly, it's just scrutiny at this point because, I mean, first of all, it's nobody's fucking business what relationship I'm in and who I'm in that with. And I mean, it should be okay for me to post it publicly, but feeling that, backlash from friends or family, I mean, less family, more friends, but I have gotten to a point in my life where I feel like maybe I should just start keeping that thing kind of quiet. Like I
Mm,
should have some reservation about when I'm posting a new relationship. And yes, I can say that a lot of my actions have acted on impulse, but at the same time, that's what I felt in the moment. So I'm not going to budge. I'm going to say that I mean, obviously, it's my life. I can post whatever I want, and it wasn't like I didn't check with the other person, and obviously make sure it's clear with them. Hey, let's take this public, whatever. And they've always agreed. I mean, I'm a great guy. Why wouldn't they want to?
mm. Own it. It's
not
fine.
not to sound conceited or anything,
Not
but
at all. No, no, no.
no, but I have definitely been very eager to post my relationships in the past, and I don't feel bad for it. I don't.
See,
But
my
like I
thing
said, yeah.
is like, okay, it reminds me, and you're gonna laugh, but it reminds me of one of the new Taylor Swift song that's called "How Did It End." I know, fuck it, just go for it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just anyway, but it makes me think about like what is it that we are reluctant to be on the receiving end of? Is it the scrutiny of like, oh, it's another new person, or is it the how did it end? Like what happened? Like, oh, again, like it didn't work out for you. And then it's like facing that and almost like an embarrassment that you didn't make it work.
Yeah. I think maybe both.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the scrutiny comes from, oh, here he goes again, or here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
And really, honestly, I don't understand why people are like that. Um, Mostly because, I mean, it's my life. And if I choose to go into another relationship with another woman, then, like, I mean, who are you to say anything or otherwise? It's just, and I get like a lot of my really close friends actually have my best interest in heart and in mind, and they're thinking, Barry's doing whatever he can to make himself happy,
Right.
or they're supportive like you've always been supportive no matter what relationship I choose or who it's with or whatever, as long as I'm honest with you and I don't really spare the details, honestly, is the
Yeah.
problem. When I tell you the whole truth, then you can give me like an accurate, uh I wouldn't even say it's a judgment, but an accurate depiction of your point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, but sometimes we need an outside perspective for us to really see what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
especially in relationships, because those rose-colored goggles glasses that we wear all the time
Oh
and
my God.
being blinded by love.
Yeah.
I feel though that if I keep things private, I might escape a lot of that criticism just up front. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, and I escape the criticism all around. So,
Yeah.
yes, it's a win for me, but at the same time, like I said, I want to feel comfortable posting my partner or my significant other or whatever you want to call it, because that's for me, and it's not really for anybody else in that
Yeah.
regard. I know that social media is public and a lot of people can see a lot of things, so it's not really for me, if you
Mm-hmm.
want to call it that. But in my mind, that's what it's about. It's me and that person, like me showing that person that I'm not afraid to post. And that's a big controversy these days. A lot of women are
Yeah.
like, oh, well, he won't post me, so there's obviously somebody else, or there's other opportunities that that person is trying to pursue, and I'm just not one of those people. And I guess that's a way for me to prove that I'm not one of those people, is that I'm
Yeah.
posting publicly.
You read my mind because that's exactly where I was gonna go with it. Is like But what if someone like if you're dating someone and it's been, a hot minute and you're like, I'd love to go public with this. I'd love to, say that we're together publicly, and they are immediately like, no, I don't want that. Like how
Red
would
flag. Yeah,
yeah,
red flag.
right? Okay. Red flag. Um, but then it's
I
like,
guess
how do you
go
approach that
ahead.
then? It's like, ooh, but
Yeah.
why not? Like,
How do you, yeah, well, I mean, you gotta ask. You gotta ask the hard questions, those
yeah.
tough conversations. You gotta say, well, is there a reason why you don't want to post me? And if they say, oh, well, I just don't like to share my, my relationship or my romantic feelings or endeavors on social media, I mean, that's a fair reason in
Yeah.
my book. If a woman didn't want to post me because of that specific reason, I would say, okay. And until I have a real reason, like, oh, they're seeing somebody else or whatever the case could be, I wouldn't overthink it too much.
Hmm.
I say that.
Yeah. So
Maybe I would though.
do you feel like you would wait a little bit then for your next one to
Well, see, there's the issue is how long do you wait? What is a good amount of time to give somebody or you give a relationship or whatever, startup relationship you want to call it?
mm-hmm.
How much time do you give it before you actually go public or make it Facebook official, FBO, or
Oh my
I
God, did you
don't
say FBO?
I totally did. Yeah, that's the thing.
Who are
Hashtag
you? I've never heard that before.
uh
Is that what the
FBO,
kids say
Facebook
these days?
official. I'm guessing right next to glizzy and all these other
Ew,
terms.
what? What is you
Glizzy.
need to
You've
I
never heard
feel
the
old.
term glizzy?
No, Barry.
It's what they
No.
call hot dogs. All right.
What? Okay.
Hot dogs are named glizzies.
Like an
Whatever.
actual hot dog?
Off topic. Yes, a hot dog. Hot dogs are called glizzies. Oh, anyway,
It's a good
um,
education lesson here. We're all learning
yeah.
together. Oh my God.
But
Okay.
anyway, yeah. So I guess the real question is, how long do you wait? And if
Well,
you do wait, like, is it going to offend the other person? Because what if that other person is like who I am, like prefers to be open and prefers to be public? And the longer
yeah.
you wait, you might start raising red flags in their mind, thinking that you're not committed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
It's interesting because I actually just had this conversation about an hour ago with my boyfriend about like, well, when would we want to make that public? Because he's like appeared in my stories, like a hand there and a leg there, and like my friends are like, you should just start showing like his ear or his shoulder, and like people can like piece it together, like no. But I was like, when would you want to do that? And he's like, well, I just assumed that like, when I met the kids in the fall that we would do that then. And I'm like, I kind of feel like I'm ready to do it before then. Um, but I don't know. I don't It's weird. It's a weird thing to like know when's the right time. But I feel like once you're out of that like three month mark, then it's like you really can see any red flags that might be coming up and have kind of gotten the foundation laid. And then you're like, okay, yeah, like I don't, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I guess the foundation, but then again, at the same time, like what's your definition of a foundation? I guarantee it's different than mine. It's different from
Yeah.
everyone else's.
Well, I think that
I
like you
guess
have,
it's just a communication thing between you and your partner. Yeah.
right, like understanding like what you've gone through, what you want out of life, what you expect in a partnership, and kind of it's almost like that I don't know, like it's a little bit of a hibernation before you open up your relationship to the world, because I feel like once you do that, then you are opening up to external opinions. And until you are like for sure, like, yeah, I really am solid with this person, and I'm really confident what we have, like, then maybe it is too soon.
Do you think that by avoiding the scrutiny, it makes decision making early on in the relationship easier?
Decision making in what regard?
In like, or maybe like overlooking red flags, right? Something that
Mm,
you may not have noticed was a red flag. Like there's been several times where you and I were talking about whatever whoever it was, and something that I hadn't realized was a red flag didn't really get noticed until you were like, "Oh, Barry, that's a red flag." for
Yeah.
whatever situation it was. I don't remember specifics,
Yeah.
but without that outside perspective, sometimes it's tough. Like I said, rose colored goggles, glasses, sometimes it's tough to see people for who they are without
Mhm.
that outside perspective.
I think that you need to have a trusted support circle that knows not intimate details, but like the good and the bad, like what the red flags are, what the green flags are, like what are your concerns? Like, I mean, obviously, like, not obviously, but like I, consulted with you and I consulted with my best friends about the whole situation and like, well, he's really great at this and like, well, negative is like this. And now he's gonna be like, what's the negative? I'm not gonna air it for the podcast. Um, but having the support circle, even if it's just a couple of people, to kind of help you, whether it's like make a pros and cons list or like, okay, what are you really concerned about? Like what does come up for you when I ask what are the red flags? Like that gut reaction is the thing that you need to kind of dive deeper on. But if it's honestly just you two for, X amount of months, then I feel like that's a little bit concerning.
Right. Okay. So we kind of agree there. So it's less public, more private, but inner circle private,
Like
right? So like,
trusted sources that would tell you. Yeah.
right. I mean, the people that are honest, that aren't going to
Yeah.
sugarcoat, that aren't going to
Be
tell you what you want to
opportunistic.
hear.
Yeah.
Right. So that leads me to an interesting point. So even if you do keep something private, you still need to, open that relationship up to certain individuals in your life that are going to give you that. I mean, they're still giving you criticism in the back end, but it's less public. So it's like, the people that you really care about versus the people that you really care about and all the haters, like,
Yeah.
right.
Because,
So,
well, you respect their opinion and it's not like, the church ladies who are just gossiping and like, looking for every little flaw. Like, I don't have fucking time for that. Like, if you have a valid
right.
concern, bring it up to me. But if you're not in my inner circle, there's a good chance that I really don't give a fuck what you have to say.
Well, that leads me to the next point. Then why
Hmm.
would we even care about it being public?
Because like what you said before is like I want to show this person off. I want to show off the fact that like I am being treated so well and it also gives people hope that like if they've been broken X amount of times, like it's still possible for them to find someone who treats them how they are worthy of being treated.
I like that. That's a good reason, though. If you think
Yeah.
about it, I mean, of all reasons why you should be bragging about your partner, wouldn't we want being treated great to be number one? I
Yeah.
mean, that should be number one in all relationships. But
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm.
that maybe the flip side of the coin then, is it, you're like broadcasting breakups and stuff like that publicly. I mean,
Mm.
that's the opposite side of the coin when it comes to treatment. I mean, wouldn't I'm under the impression that I don't want to broadcast that I'm in a breakup, but I have a tendency of doing that because of sappy posts and whatever
Right.
emotions that I'm feeling get, translated through social media very, very easily
Yeah.
in the things that you post or share.
But that's easy. It's hard to avoid. I think that my perspective is a little bit different because it was self-inflicted, but I was really like forced to keep it private. I would, post some sappy things or, a lot of mindset things to kind of help me stay in a positive mindset, but I didn't publicly talk about the fact that I was getting a divorce for 9 months. Like from October to June, I didn't say anything on social media about it. Um and I
But that
think
was intentional.
it was intentional, yeah, to protect my kids because I wanted them to know
Yeah.
before the rest of the world. But I think that it benefited me even more because I was able to process it and not maybe post things that I would regret reaction wise versus like, responding to the feelings that are coming up for me. So it's more of like a looking back, like this is what I went through and like here's what I learned. Also, just another learning opportunity for people that are in the thick of it, because not
Right.
everyone can share about the shit that they're actually going through or have gone through. Because then it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it like makes it become more real, but it also puts you on the chopping block for other people's opinions. And I recognize that not everyone is not that they don't have thick skin, but they're not wanting to put themselves in that position of like being vulnerable to more pain.
Right.
That was a whole tangent. I'm sorry. I just like kind of kept going.
No, but that makes sense though, because see, I was very reluctant to post anything about my most recent breakup, but talking about it through the podcast a lot definitely helped me cope.
Yeah.
But it did open us up for a lot of scrutiny, a lot of critiques, a lot
Yeah.
of people came to me and said, I can't believe you're talking about that. And I mean, a lot of people who know the other side of that equation also gave me a lot of feedback saying, hey, like, you're not, I mean, you're not making the other person happy. And I mean, it's not my intention to make that person happy anyway. But,
No, you're
but
sharing your
talking
journey.
about things, yeah, exactly. Talking about my experience from my point of view, everybody has to understand that it is just my point of view. It's not necessarily my opinion because I'm talking about the things that happened.
Yeah.
And, those are factual, you know, occurrences, but at the same time, how those, instances made me feel is really how I'm talking. Like
Yeah.
that's the content that we're talking about. This happened, and how did that make me feel?
100%. On like I've been reluctant to talk about a lot of things about the fallout of my marriage and the red flags that I overlooked and that I wasn't aware of. Because I don't want it to become something of like a blame game, right? Like I'm not here to paint this person out to be a terrible person, but I can sit here and tell you my personal truth of like what I experienced and like how that being on the receiving end of that made me feel. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that publicly or privately because it's what happened and what you feel isn't a reflection of like who that person is as a person, but they might just have been, reflecting that type of light into your life because of the toxicity between you two, which
Yeah,
is a hard
projecting, definitely.
concept to grasp for some.
Absolutely. And that's another thing too, is people don't understand that everybody formulates their own opinions
Hmm.
about people, about specific events, about feelings. Everybody has their own point of view. And if, as long as I stay true to how I feel and how I perceive things, I can sleep at night and I know that everything's going to be okay. Now, we have followers that definitely give us feedback. And a lot of them, their feedback helped me in ways to heal and to cope with things. And I didn't even share like specific details. It's just, showing the world that vulnerability and having people understand on a different level. I feel like that was the goal. That's always been the goal.
Hmm.
And in order to heal, I feel like talking about it also helped me. It really did
100%.
help me heal. So, and
It's
that's a big issue I think a lot of people have, is that they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to say things publicly because they're afraid of the vulnerability. They're
yeah.
afraid people are going to look at them and be like, oh my God, this guy's on his podcast talking about his breakup and how upset he is. But I mean, why does that matter? Like, we're all humans, we all have emotions, we all share the same emotions. We all feel vulnerable at times. We
Yeah.
all feel sad and regret, and we all feel happy and excited about the future. Like, I just don't understand why people would ever, criticize us based on emotion, right?
It's a really weird thing because, I've been a creator on social media for 9 years now. Like I started my YouTube channel 9 years ago, which is insane to think about. And I've been very vulnerable and very raw with like things that have gone on in my life and things that I've been experiencing, whether it's like postpartum anxiety or, you know, fuck everything. And I think that it makes people uncomfortable to see other people be so transparent without, doing the blame game, right? But it makes them uncomfortable in a way that makes them reflect on themselves of like, why can't I be comfortable in my own skin to speak about things in an honest way? Because 90% of social media is like everyone just, like flaunting how great their life is, and they're not talking about the hard shit. And that's exactly what you and I are doing. And I think that it will slowly create a ripple. The more that we do it, the more it'll inspire other people to do it. And it will just create more connection as humans. And we're missing that.
Absolutely. That it's that 10%, the bad. So
Yeah.
you're right. Like social media is just a projection of how great everybody's lives are because we don't want to share the sad things. We don't want to share the heartbreak. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because then, like I said, you're vulnerable and people are going to attack you or, say that whatever they're going to say. But that's the thing is, as long as we're inspiring other people in the world to be real and be honest and to just be who they are,
Yeah.
whether it's, a good day or a bad day. I mean, a lot of people wake up every day and they have those big emotions and they have to work through them. And I want to be a beacon for the
Mm-hmm.
people that are like that because there are many days when I wake up and I don't want to go to work. Even with the job that I have now, there are very stressful days.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm looking forward to every day because I'm just happy. I'm happy that I get that gift of being able to wake up. And yeah, I might have big emotions or I might be stressed out or whatever the case is, but I know that as long as I am genuine, as long as I'm true to myself, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to get through every situation and every scenario that plays out ahead of me, whether it's good or bad. And
Yeah.
that's really what it comes down to. And
And
being true to myself, posting my relationships publicly. So all the haters
um,
can see, I
yeah.
don't really care.
I know. Well, there's also the quote of like, in order to attract, you have to repel. And it's like people aren't gonna feel comfortable with your content. But then also thinking about like the times that we've had, where we're like really down bad and we're like, oh, fuck, life just really sucks right now. Like how w- transformative it would have been to have seen someone in our position sharing like what's working for them or just sharing like, hey, it's a fucking hard day and it's okay to have a hard day, right? So it's like being that person for even just one other person that doesn't even comment, doesn't even reach out. Like, people are going to be validated and inspired by your content. I mean, I have so many lurkers that I appreciate them, right? Because I know that I'm helping them and I know that they're doing really great things in their lives, even if it's just waking up every day and choosing to look for the good in life. It's the little things that really make such a big difference.
Absolutely. And honestly, I wouldn't change any of it.
Yeah.
I have really enjoyed the podcast. I really enjoy getting on here and talking about my experiences and sharing them with you. And all of those feedback moments, I mean, they never would have happened if we hadn't done this. So, and that's
Yeah.
something that really opens my eyes because there are people out there that want to have a voice, but they're afraid, they're
Hmm.
afraid of the vulnerability.
And what
They're
people will think
afraid,
about them.
yeah, they're afraid of the criticism.
Hmm.
They're afraid that people won't understand. And that's the beauty of it is that we don't care if people don't understand. We're going to do it anyway. And it's shown us that there are people out there that do
Yeah.
understand and definitely can relate to not only the pain, but also the happiness and the positivity that we're trying to create here,
Hmm.
honestly.
Amen. Amen. So,
But yeah.
in wrapping up this episode, we want to hear, would you share or have you shared your significant other on social media? Is it a red flag if someone doesn't want to share you on social media? Yeah, tell us all the things. Anything to add?
Nope, that's it. I really enjoyed this conversation. That was fun.
Thanks. Thanks. I thought of the topic like 20 minutes before we got on, so good to know I can still wing it. I
Great
love
job.
you. Thanks for being here.
Love you too.
All
Y'all
right.
have
Bye,
fun.
guys.